All right, ladies and gentlemen, so the opportunity for maximum amounts of virtue signaling is now officially upon us as the gamer and other websites like it are taking this opportunity with Assassin's Creed Shadows, a couple of days from release at the time of filming this video. Apparently, they're taking the opportunity to talk about abuse within the gaming space and how Assassin's Creed developers are sharing their experiences with supposed online abuse. Now, I find this to be hilarious because at the end of the day, nobody ever wants to talk about, aside from us, of course, nobody on that particular side ever wants to talk about what the developers say and do on their social media profiles in order to garner a certain kind of reaction. But when it comes time to everybody gathering together and making one massive virtue signaling push before the game comes out, now we're here and they're talking about their abuse. So let's get into this article, guys, from The Gamer. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So the headline reads, Assassin's Creed devs share their experiences with online abuse. Yesterday, it was reported that Ubisoft is offering support to developers who face online abuse. Now, more devs are speaking out against this harassment. One says that they received death threats over Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, obviously, anybody with a brain knows that you should not be sending death threats to anybody. I've always condemned that. And I know these people out there like The Gamer and whatnot, they're always going to say, well, you encourage this with your community. No, we don't. We never do. We always condemn nonsense like this. And there's always going to be people out there on both sides, by the way, because I'm sure that a lot of you journalists out there, and I know I have screenshots of it, a lot of you journalists like to follow certain people on Twitter that love to do death threats against certain people in this YouTube space. So let's not sit here and pretend like you're, oh my God, getting death threats and it's so bad, because you guys follow people that do the exact same thing. And while we openly condemn it, you continue to follow them and never openly condemn it whatsoever, because the ideology must be protected at all costs. Let's be real. Assassin's Creed Shadows is launching this week, but the months between its reveal and now have now been intense for the developers. Even putting the delays aside, they found themselves at the center of the culture war, with Shadows and its devs being one of the main targets of the anti-DEI crowd. Well, here's the amazing thing about this, right? So you guys are the ones that did this. You guys are the ones that continue to push the DEI nonsense. You guys are the ones that advocate for the DEI nonsense. And even if there was an anti-DEI crowd, if that's what you wanted to label it as, you cannot then push DEI and expect to have no pushback from a supposed anti-DEI crowd. There is a reason why two sides exist, and you have clearly picked your side. If you did not want to be in part of the culture war, then you should not have picked the side that is against the other side. You should have just remained neutral and provided an experience that gamers would have actually wanted to play with no controversy. If you would have given people a Japanese male protagonist samurai, and if you would have given people Naoe, it would have been no issue. Everybody would have been fine. But the clear virtue signal with Yasuke and the clear decision that you made in 2020 when you started developing this game was, hey, oh my God, look what happened to George Floyd. We need to do something about this. We need to virtue signal. Let's not sit here and pretend that you weren't joining every other company in 2020 and massively virtue signaling with your black squares on Instagram and your hashtag BLM while they were stealing millions and millions of dollars from the black community and white communities, and then taking that money and buying mansions in white communities. Yeah, clearly that helped out the black community so much. Yesterday, we reported on how Ubisoft has allegedly put plans in place to protect its workers as Shadows launches, which includes psychological and legal support to anyone facing online harassment. Now more devs are coming forward with it. They're sharing their experience with abuse after Assassin's Creed Mirage launch. You know what's hilarious? So you're trying to justify the conversation about supposed abuse with Assassin's Creed Shadows by talking about a completely different game with a completely different experience. I don't understand. Like, how does this correlate? I don't get it. So you got harassment before, so that means you're getting harassment now? That doesn't correlate. Like, do you have evidence of the harassment now, or are you just going to use previous situations to try to bolster your argument about what's happening now, supposedly? Someone said, when Assassin's Creed Mirage came out, I was told to get R-worded and offed because me and the team decided to have blue roofs on certain buildings, and it wasn't completely accurate, says environmental artist Leah Phages. So yeah, protect devs. Assassin's Creed YouTuber The Hidden One says they received a DM from someone close to the dev team, also shedding some light on this. In a message, the source says that some are already seeking help due to harassment. Oh my God. That's absolutely insane, bro. I can't. I've been told that the developers find this climate of hatred stressful. Some have relied on psychologists to get through the period. The source says, adding that they cannot defend themselves without ending up as public targets. Nobody's saying you can't defend yourself. The problem is that you guys are the ones that usually throw the first stone, and then when a boulder comes your way, you want to claim it's harassment. You can't do that. A lot of you guys are out there calling people racist, sexist, homophobes, whatever. So then when you get targeted by people who want to, contradict those statements and say, that's not true, you're an idiot, you then want to claim harassment and go see a psychologist. What the hell is going on here? I don't understand how people are so weak at the development team that they need psychologists for what people are saying online. There's mean shit that gets said online by all kinds of people. I don't understand this. I just don't. Ubisoft has made psychology services available in several studios to address this problem. I don't know how many employees are depressed, the source continues, also saying that there is no such thing as political agendas or conspiracies at Ubisoft. No such thing. Really? So there's no such thing as political agendas for a company that openly advocates for DEI, has DEI on their website, has openly admitted that they purposely hire people based on their skin color instead of their merit. But there's definitely no political agenda or conspiracy going on whatsoever at Ubisoft. Absolutely not. Of course not. That's an absolute joke, and they know it. They know that they're lying through their teeth when they say stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they got to run damage control for the company. It is what it is. The last point refers to the idea that Ubisoft made Yasuke a protagonist in Shadows due to some kind of political agenda. Some argue that it is historically inaccurate to depict him as a samurai, although much of the pushback is overt racism, with racist language and imagery shared online since the game's reveal. Guys, I'm going to put it to you like this, man. Assassin's Creed Shadows, at the end of the day, is just another video game that is going to come and go with the wind, right? All this controversy that is built around this game is built around the fact that people hate Ubisoft. It's not that they necessarily hate Assassin's Creed, because I don't think that's what it is. I think people love Assassin's Creed, and they are angry that Ubisoft has decided to take the one time that people genuinely were excited about the setting. People have wanted feudal Japan Assassin's Creed for the longest time, especially after Ghost of Tsushima. People were like, gee, I wonder what an Assassin's Creed game would look like in this same exact setting. I could only imagine what they could possibly do with it. And then they come out with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and people are like, what the hell is going on? Like, why did you pick Yasuke of all people? You could have picked so many other samurais that were alive during Oda Nobunaga's time that had connections with Oda Nobunaga, and you chose to do Yasuke, his retainer, the guy that was there for 15 months and surrendered after Oda Nobunaga fell and then never was heard from again. I don't understand why you chose to do that. You glorified him, and you're trying to make him into something that Thomas Lockley was profiting off of. Right? Everybody knows Thomas Lockley made up the shit about Yasuke, edited the Wikipedia page, wrote a book about his own edits, and then profited off of it. And all of you Westerners ate it up as if it was fact. But at the end of the day, Thomas Lockley's works are just fiction. They're fiction around Yasuke. They're making him into this massive character that he never really was. He never really was this figure that they're trying to portray. But at the end of the day, nobody's saying you can't make a fake Yasuke, because even the Japanese do it. But the way the Japanese do it is totally different from what you did. They make him usually into a side character, DLC characters, a secret optional boss, whatever the case may be. That's what they do with Yasuke. And they never falsely claim that he is a samurai of legend, or they never say that he is the legendary samurai. They would just say that he's basically an enigmatic figure. He's somebody in history who doesn't really have a lot of history, and they're just treating him as a folklore character at this point. And they are well within their rights to depict their history how they want to. But you, on the other hand, you are choosing to make Yasuke into this grandstanding character, this character that for some odd reason is running around dressed better than Oda Nobunaga. I don't know if you guys saw those comparison pictures between Nobunaga and Yasuke when they're on the horses, but Yasuke is donned in all gold armor, right? Complete crazy gold samurai armor, and Oda Nobunaga is just in like black regular samurai armor. It doesn't even look like samurai armor. It looks like a poor man's armor. So it's very clear what their decision is, and it's very clear the message is trying to send out there with Yasuke, especially his gameplay. So at the end of the day, man, people are going to be upset over it, and they have a right to be. And the fact that you're trying to avoid criticism by claiming harassment is very weak. It's also not surprising, considering Ubisoft is threatening lawsuits against anybody who wants to have the conversation around Shadows and around the developers' decisions, and also around what the developers have been saying. You have every right to criticize someone who worked on a video game. You have every right to do that, especially if they are publicly talking about the game. So if you don't want them talking about you, then perhaps you should not be publicly talking about the game. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.